Hey guys, so I'm going to talk to you guys about self and how it kind of pertains to symbolic interactionism. And kind of this idea of self is one of his main concepts is this idea of I versus me. Now, we'll get to the me a little bit later, but let's focus on this perspective of I. Now, I is very spontaneous. It happens when you do something spontaneous or creative or in the moment. It's very first person perspective, so it's kind of how you view the world. And so I'm drawing your eye, that's your perspective, your belly and your little toes. It's how you see things. It's very reactive, though. It's very impulsive. So it happens very quickly without thinking at all. Babies don't really think about things, or yeah, there's not a lot of thinking going on at all. I kind of think of it like when I see a spider, right? What do I do when I see a spider? I scream. So here's a little guy. He's screaming. He's like attaching to a pole. The eye perspective doesn't really care if there's a group around going like laughing at them. He's not thinking like, oh well, what does the spider think of me? He just reacts to the situation, which is his fear, and he screams. So this is the idea of I. Babies are kind of in this I perspective all the time. They hear sounds that they don't really understand. They don't give two fucks where they are. They can poop, pee, cry wherever. They see shapes they don't really understand. But they learn about the world through something called participant observation, which is kind of self-explanatory. You observe the world and you participate in it. And so through participant observation, we learn a lot about, nonverbal behaviors. We learn that this guy right here is giving a thumbs up, so it's all good sign, he's positive. We learn that this dude over here, he's super impatient, he's got somewhere to be. We learn nonverbals, we learn communications, we learn societal rules. These people are bowing, saying konnichiwa. We all learn this through interacting with someone, and it's normally this person's our parents, it starts off with. So this is your mom. This is the familiar shape before, and you find out that because she loves you and because she feeds you, you like her. And so this is the idea of meaning that we give things. So because she loves you and thinks you, loves you, likes you, and you love her, you see your mom as this really happy person, this sweet lady. She's holding cookies in her hands, But if we don't like her, we give her a negative meaning. We kind of see her as this grouchy old lady. It's like, go do your homework, We're grounded. And so the same person, same concept, same everything is just based off of the interaction that we've had, that we like her or not, and that's just how we see her. That's the label we kind of attach to her. This label can change all the time. One week you could think your mom's like this nice sweet lady, the next week you'd be like, oh, she's a grouchy old bitch. But anyway, that's this idea of meaning. We've also learned something else from our mother or father. We kind of watch them. We watch them say apple, apple, and we learn through them language. Now, this idea or concept of language is really powerful, according to Mead. It's kind of this defining feature. It makes us intelligent beings. It's kind of this marker which separates us. Where's my little? Yes, so us as the brain of human beings from animals. Now, language is really just symbols, right? They're arbitrary, but they're really useful. So I can draw this, needle right here, and I can draw this little bottle of booze and this little music symbol, and I can kind of be referring to like drug, sex, and rock and roll. That's pretty powerful. A symbol that can mean that much. Anyway, but so Mead believes that language really expands our worldview. We're able to have conversations about things we would never be able to converse about. We're able to learn things we'd never be able to learn about if we didn't have language. And it also proves another useful function, which is that when we say the word iPhone, right, we know that the person we're talking to will have this vague idea of what the same thing an iPhone is, right? It's a phone with a little Apple symbol on it that has a bite out of it. But we also know that not just this representation of things, of a phone, it carries all these other hidden connotations. So an iPhone, it might be saying that we're hip, or that, it's costly, or that we have money to put into it. is kind of what marketing, the whole idea of marketing kind of relies on, this idea of these hidden meanings to a word. Now, what is a word? Why do we even need to know certain things? So think of a pregnant lady, right? I always ask them, oh, is it a boy or a girl, right? Why do we even really need to know a gender of a baby? It doesn't really affect us. But we want to know, not just because society says we should know, but because this idea of boy or girl, it allows us to know how to act toward the child, right? So if we think, oh, it's a boy, or if it's a girl, let's say, so because I'm drawing a girl right over here. Oh, okay, girl means she's gonna like pink. She's gonna like cooking. She's gonna like reading. And if it's a boy, oh, he's gonna like sports and blue. And so we behave based off of these preconceived notions of like what a boy should do or what a girl should do. And this kind of affects our self, this idea of self, because if someone thinks that we're a girl, and so they're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna give you gifts and like you should be doing girly and dainty things, we're more likely to conform to that idea because that's what girls should do. Or if you're a boy, boys are rough and rugged and they don't cry, and so you're going to start acting that way based off of someone else's behavior. And I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself. So, yes, there's this girl and there's a boy. And so we kind of start developing our self-concept based off of like how this interaction of how people think we should be. For a second, because we're going to kind of look at this idea of thought and specifically rule assumption. And so there's this little kid, right? She's playing pretend and she thinks she's some Viking warrior. And there's this little kid I'm drawing. He's like running, and so he thinks he's Flash. And it's kind of this idea that we're able to pretend, we're able to take on other people's roles. And so let's say this kid wants to be a robber, right? First, we have to kind of know the language. We have to think of what does a robber do? Okay, what have I seen him do? What is the meaning behind it? And so, okay, we think, oh, Robert steals, he wears a mask. And kind of from this, for the first time, we get this ability to see from a different person's perspective. We're able to see ourselves from their lens. It's the first time we can kind of see ourselves as an object outside of ourselves. And this idea of as a third-person perspective, an object is this main component of me. It's kind of how other people view us, honestly. And that's a key component. Excuse me. And I kind of messed up a little bit, so I'm drawing a little over here. And so it's kind of how we view other people viewing us. And it makes what is called this idea of the looking glass perspective. And so kind of based off of other people's thoughts. They say we show our mom like, hey mom, this is a great drawing, and like, oh honey, that's great, you're so creative, or hey mom, look at this awesome building blocks I built, and like, oh honey, you're so smart. We start to gather all these thoughts and thinking, and we start to kind of collect these mirrors of self-perception. And so here I am drawing really slowly this idea. So we get these mirrors of how other people perceive us to be. So this is our self-concept, right? And because of this person says that you're so happy all the time, I get this viewpoint that I see them seeing me as this happy-go-lucky person. From another person that says that, oh, you're so smart all the time, I view myself as being smart from their eyes. And this person over here thinks that, oh, you're so nosy. So I kind of see I see myself as a nosy person. And these all affect your self-concept. These all kind of influence how you think of yourself. But these are all good things. What happens if it's bad? What happens if someone thinks that, oh, you're dumb, or they say, oh, you're fugly all the time? It's going to affect how you view yourself. So we have these mirrors. And so someone that says we're dumb, we see ourselves kind of as dumb. Someone that says we're fugly, we're going to see ourselves from their perspective as fugly, and it affects how we think of ourselves. It affects how our viewpoint, it affects our self-concept. And so we kind of see ourselves kind of as this monster, in a sense. And it's a horrible thing, but that's how it is. And so that's it. We've covered all of self in symbolic interactionism. Hope you enjoyed. Keep it real.